So you found the skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research.
Hey everybody, welcome to Jackson with Jackson. I am here, of course, with Jackson. Say hello, Jackson.
Hello, Jackson.
There we go. All right. So, Jackson, well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Metageeky Platypus Librarian, who sent 5 Dapper Dinosaur gift memberships and also sent a membership chat. And Metageeky has been a member for 13 months, is at the Tetrapod level, and says, eat a pilgrim or dinosaur this week. Your choice. Actually, I haven't had any dinosaur this week, but I did have some alligator this week. So those are not dinosaurs. They're archosaurs, which, I mean, is a connection. So they're closer to dinosaurs than any non-bird extant reptile is. So there's that. But yeah, no dinosaur meat so far. I did already take the 5 drinks for Metageeky's gifted memberships, but now Lieutenant Matt the Navigator has gifted 5 more. So thank you very much. Now, Jackson, I am drinking some brandy today. What are you drinking?
I've got some pink lemonade, and then once I finish that, I'll drink some Gatorsade.
Okay. Now, why don't you tell people where I was when I ate some alligator?
Well,
Roughly.
you were most likely in Louisiana, which is where we met.
Mm-hmm.
We got to meet, well, we were supposed to meet a day before, but there were problems with with airports, problems with weather, and so ultimately we only got to spend about an hour with each other, unfortunately, but it was fun. We got to see each other in person. You got to see the aquarium.
If you count
a grand
the
old time.
drive to where you were dropping me off, I think it was about 2 hours.
Okay, 2 hours. Yeah. Well, we were supposed to spend like a day.
Yeah, it was supposed to be almost an entire day. Then actually could have been more than a day. But no. Instead, weather in Dallas decided that I was going to spend the night in Arlington, Texas, which was, I mean, it was Arlington. It was fine. It was a hotel.
Yeah.
It wasn't, there was nothing to write home about. It was a bed. I guess technically there were 2 beds. It was more comfortable than the airport. And it had a shower, but I had to put on the same clothes again, so that was great. Love wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row. But hey, it was cool to hang out, and it was cool to see the aquarium where you work. It was cool to see the virgin birth shark that you have there.
Yes, Yoko, our little Yoko, who when we announced her birth, so she was born on January 3rd of this year. We got a surprising amount of press for that. We were on like KTBS, which is like Shreveport Bossier news. CBS Australia contacted us for an interview, believe it or not.
Wow.
It was pretty wacky. Yeah, we got some extremely wide coverage for that.
All right. Now we have a few more things to read here. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, is the Triassic Kraken a dinosaur? Well, no. If it's a kraken, it would have to be some kind of a cephalopod, wouldn't it?
Who's the guy? That's right. I vaguely remember there was someone who was like, oh, these ichthyosaur, it was like Shonosaurus or something like that are like in a position that indicates a giant cephalopod arranged them. Like, what? That was nuts.
Yeah, maybe. Won't rule it out, but I'm not going to rule it in either.
Right.
Trail Mix, who's been a member for 29 months, says drinking rules with a Godzilla, and don't worry, we will indeed get to the drinking rules. Lieutenant Math Navigator says, is mayonnaise a dinosaur? I would say mayonnaise contains the remains of dinosaur cells.
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not a dinosaur.
But no, it is not a dinosaur. Just Tunicate Official for $5 says, finally got the 40 pounds of honey after several shipping delays. I'm accepting mead names with a Godzilla. Dapper loves tunicates, maybe? Well, I mean, I do love tunicates, just, you know, the good, hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic, sessile tunicate. So there. All right. Well, now that we have what has come in so far out of the way, and our initial stories of meeting IRL for the first time, where you also signed 2 copies of your book, The Rocks Were There, Volume 2, which you co-authored with R.J. Downard, whose signature I also have in those books, and which is available on Amazon. Go check it out.
The Rocks Were There.
Yes. It gives... You do make a little bit of money on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
put some money on that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, go help out Jackson. Buy his book.
Mhm.
Let's go through the drinking rules. So one of the ones you've already seen a few times is that we will take a drink if there is a Godzilla or Mothra or a King Ghidorah emoji in the chat. Those are channel emojis. You do have to be a member of the channel to get those. The quickest and easiest way is probably to just hit join channel and pay the $1.99 per month membership cost. You can also hope that someone gifts you memberships. I don't know if you can actually get a membership yourself if you're not already a member and you gift memberships. I wouldn't suggest trying because it would probably be very expensive, but if someone wanted to try, I would appreciate it. Let's see. We will also take a drink for each of those gifted memberships. Now, if the drink amount that we need to drink gets to like 30, I'm just going to down this current snifter of brandy and pour myself another snifter of brandy. That is, in fact, probably the quickest way to get me to have some significant impairment. So, yeah, because this is just straight liquor. You know, it's 80 proof. Now we will also take a drink if Charles Jackson, our creationist of the evening, who is mostly off screen right now, he's off to the left, if he says something that's too stupid, we just kind of have to, in order to cool our brains down, brain coolant, we'll take a drink. Also, we'll take a drink if he gets something that's actually factually correct, where he's not just citing someone else and reading it off of a source, but it's actually in his brain. We'll take a drink for that. We'll also take a drink if he actually manages to tell a joke that doesn't land, which is most of his jokes because he's not very funny, or if he tells a story that didn't happen, which is a bit of a judgment call on our part, but, you know, hey, that's okay. We'll also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson mentions that political party from Germany in like the 1930s that is sadly becoming more and more relevant as time goes on here in the former United States. We'll also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson cites a source, but then we check that source, and not only does the source fail to confirm his statement, but it actively contradicts him. We call that a Trojan source. We'll stick a drink if he mixes up anything we can know about the specimen Lucy. Anything we can know about any taxon to which she belongs, but which is not available to us from the Lucy specimen. So, for instance, if he's like, well, we don't know if Australopithecus could walk upright because Lucy wasn't found with feet. Yeah, well, the Dakika child was, as were many, well, not many, but as were several other Australopithecus. So, it doesn't matter if Lucy specifically was. It's kind of like saying, like, oh, we don't know if this species of dinosaur had, like 3 or 4 toes, even though all the other members of its genus have 3 toes with 1 dew claw. I'm like, yeah, we know. Let's see, we'll also take a drink if I can guess, or Jackson can guess, where Dr. Charles Jackson is going when it's not very, very obvious. That's confirmed prediction. We'll also take a drink if I screw up the production of the show. So, for instance, if I forget to turn the opening credits off when we come back from an intermission, or if I switch the wrong scene, or if I mute Jackson accidentally, or forget to unmute myself or something. That's Dapper's a professional. Now, if it is an act of God or a hardware malfunction, or like a malfunction on YouTube side, we do not take a drink for that. So, for instance, if YouTube HQ blows up, if an asteroid strikes the internet cables between me and there, if my computer catches on fire, if OBS crashes, if the media player crashes, none of that is Dapper's a professional. We'll also take a drink if anyone super chats or membership milestone chats anything to the effect that answers in Genesis are a bag of dicks. Yeah. So, Jackson, have I forgotten anything that you can remember?
I don't think so.
Well, in that case, let's read this super chat from Lieutenant Matt the Navigator, who says, "Oh no, Bad Jackson has become so low resolution that he has become invisible." Yeah, basically. All right. Well, Bad Jackson was just about to tell us about splicing with introns and exons, right? Where in eukaryote genomes, this is not true for prokaryote genomes, but in eukaryote genomes, each gene is actually sections called exons which carry coding bits separated by introns, which do not, and which are later snipped out after they're transcribed before the RNA is sent off to a ribosome. I actually don't know exactly why this evolved in eukaryotes. I don't know that anyone does. It does mean, though, that we eukaryotes do have what's called alternate splicing, where different parts of different exons can be spliced together to make different proteins, so that one segment of coding DNA can actually code for more than one protein. But overall, it's less space efficient than the prokaryote genomes. So, like, I don't know that it's like a space-saving thing. I don't know that that gives eukaryotes some big advantage over prokaryotes. But it's a thing that is true that Charles Jackson likes to talk about. I don't know why. I don't know why he thinks this couldn't have evolved. I don't know why he thinks it's a barrier to evolution. I don't know why he thinks it's important to tell his... Are these students? Is that what these are? Victims?
Are they? Victims?
Might be
I don't
victims.
know.
I'm going with victims
I mean,
for now.
Yeah, that might be the best explanation.
Okay. Yeah, we're going for We're going with victims right now. All right. Jackson, I think we have had enough preamble. Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I can be.
All right. I'm going to take that as a no, but I'm going to hit play anyway.
We know it does occur. We don't know how it's doing it yet. Trends, let's see. There is not just one start site, because we used to teach at the beginning of a gene, there's the start codon and there's the stop codon, but there's lots of them really in between where the splice marks are marked.
I actually don't know how introns and exons are marked so that RNA and various mechanisms know where to slice out the introns. Do you? Because off the top of my head, I don't, actually.
I'm pretty sure he's wrong. I'm pretty sure you still have... Okay, so your start codon is methionine. Well, for archaeans and eukaryotes, and then for bacteria, it's in formyl methionine. And I'm pretty sure the start of the gene is the same regardless, because you have like your 5' untranslated region, and then you have your you have like your promoter sequence and your enhancers and all that, and then you have your start codon, and then you have your actual sequence, right? And so the introns and exons are part of the actual sequence that is transcribed, and then the way that the introns are first spliced out, and then the way that the exons are then spliced together is what results in your different sequences ultimately of amino acids. It's not that the gene is starting to be sliced at it's not that the gene is starting to be read and then transcribed at different points along the DNA sequence. It is that wherever it is starting, it's starting at the beginning, right? There's one beginning point, and then the exons are spliced together differentially to produce different protein sequences. Is my understanding.
Okay.
I've never heard of this. The gene is like starting to be transcribed at different points, and that's how you get different amino acids ultimately.
There is not just one start site, but many in each particular gene region. This is from Nature magazine and from Nature Reviews Genetics. 2007.
I think he's talking
Anthony
about two
Flew
different
said,
things.
There were two factors.
That would be pretty normal for him.
I think he's talking about two different things here. I think, if I remember correctly, yes, it is also the case that, like, genes, there can be, like, overlap of the sites of genes or whatever, but, like, that's not alternative splicing. That is something different. That is a different mechanism.
Okay.
Or a different event that's going on there, is my understanding again.
By the way, I have set a super chat goal. We can get 10 of the like amber colored in US $10 or above super chats. I will do a stream on Thursday. Thanksgiving stream, because I will be grateful for all the super chats. Get it? Do you see how that works? I have no idea if anyone will join me. I will invite some non-Americans so that it doesn't disrupt their holiday. So I guess basically I'll invite like Chesh and Kip, because they're from Canada. And they're the non-Americans that I know that have time zones that work the best with me. I guess I could invite like some more people, like Craig or something. I don't think he'll want to just randomly hop on a middle of the morning stream. But yeah, I'll do a stream.
I'm looking, as I look at it right now. Yeah, I'm thinking he's talking about overlapping genes right now, which is genes whose expressible nucleotide sequences partially overlap with the expressible nucleotide sequence of another gene. So in this way, a nucleotide sequence may make a contribution to the function of one or more gene products. So yeah, so he's talking about two different things. He was talking about alternative splicing a moment ago, which refers to the way in which the exons are put together. Now he's talking about overlapping genes, which is something totally different.
Okay. A Goop Do 3 for 149. It sends a ice cream super sticker. Thank you very much. I would like some ice cream right now. Earlier today, I would not have. I was very chilly. I put on like an extra layer of clothing earlier. The real fearmonger says, but Dapper Dinosaur, you need to force yourself to take time off. All right, I'll tell you what. If we can get to Fancy Avatar, and we have the super chat goal bet, we'll do a vote. Yeah, do a vote. Oh, and I just realized it's not really showing up because we don't have that set up. There we go. Okay. Dutch Tunicate official for $2 says, I, Dapper Dino, love majestic pelagic tunicates. Which is weird because Dutch Tunicates is in fact not Dapper Dinosaur. It's a little weird that anyone but me would call themselves that, except for that other Dapper Dinosaur who did coding videos but doesn't seem to be active on the platform anymore. Lieutenant Math Navigator says for $5, for all their experience editing quotes, you'd think creationists would be better at editing their videos. Right? I guess those skills are not completely transferable. Man, I had some like nightmares with the most recent video I did. I think it's finished now, but it's gonna go live for early access tomorrow because I can't do more today. But like, let's see. So first, what was it? First, for some reason, my frames were just completely not working. So then I switched over to the B avatar so I didn't have to reanimate again. Oh, right, no, it was because that was the whole chipmunk cut, right? So if you have access to early access videos, one of the videos that you can actually, I don't even think you have to have early access. I think if you just go to my my community tab and look at my posts, you'll see that there's a chipmunk cut, which is because I animated and rendered an entire video after I forgot to set my bitrate back down to normal. So normally I record at like 44/100, and then something like that. And then I increase it by 50% for editing down like all my flubs and whatnot. And that's just to make it faster. Then I'm supposed to set the bitrate back down to normal. Well, I forgot to set the bitrate back down to normal. So I had an entire set of frames and everything, animation complete, with me speaking like a chipmunk. So then I was like, well, I don't want to reanimate all this. So I went and just did B-Dapper because we did hit a fancy avatar. So rather than having everyone vote for it, I was just like, I'm just going to do the quick B-Avatar and be done with it. So I got that back, and somehow, when I told Blender to set the B mouth to sync up to my words, it was like, what if I synced it to a different audio file anyway? Which was not what I wanted. So then I had to re-render it, but I had since then switched to Blender 5.0. Well, it turns out the Blender 5.0 project files were glitched on Sheepit, something I didn't find out until after I was in the air. So it took forever to render those. And then I finally got those back, and that was good. So I have now re-rendered this animation for a third time. So then I edited it earlier today, and I hit render. but I was using the same file I had used for the previous episode, and I had switched that video file, or that file in Blender, to render videos in black and white because it was a Dappy Mouse video. So when I got done rendering it, my video was in black and white. So I re-rendered. And then finally, I uploaded that final version to YouTube, like, just before we got on air. So it's been a weird, like, month, I don't know. It's just been a weird time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been... It's like everything that could go wrong with this video has gone wrong. And I'm a little bit tired of that video. I think it's cursed. So, yeah. I'm glad that you appreciate my efforts, Triceratops, because, jeez, I have wanted to punch something, mostly myself, for, like, the last day. But hey, that's okay. I'm going to hit play.
In particular, that were decisive in his decision to not be an atheist anymore. One was my growing empathy with the insight of Einstein and other noted scientists that there had to be an intelligence behind the integrated complexity of the physical universe. The second was my own insight that the integrated complexity of life itself, which is far more complex than the physical universe.
Okay, so one thing I want to point out is that Anthony Flew is not a biologist. He was a philosopher of religion. And so, while, I mean, that probably does mean that his arguments about theism or atheism that he made over his life probably have some interesting aspects to them that I guess serious philosophers of religion should look at. It has nothing to do with whether or not evolution is true. In fact, I don't believe that Professor Anthony Flew ever, like, rejected evolution overall. I might be wrong about that. I'm not an expert on him. But, like, yeah, I don't really care what Anthony Flew had to say about evolution. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. And
yeah,
look,
I've never heard about this guy until suddenly every theist was like, oh my gosh, lifelong famous atheist has become a theist.
yeah. I mean, if you were involved
Cool.
in, like, philosophy or religion circles, like, looking at, like, arguments for or against theism or atheism, then yeah, you would have heard of Anthony Flew. But, like,
Sure.
that's not many people. In fact, it's not even many people who like to think they're involved in topics about atheism. It turns out that a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I'm involved in philosophical atheist topics. No, you're not. You're actually involved
Right.
in, like, I don't like Christianity topics, which, okay, fair enough. That's a thing you can be. I don't really care.
Right.
But that's not philosophical atheism. I'm sorry. That's
Right.
not the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Can only be explained in terms of an intelligent source. There must be a brilliant, ingenious mind with a capital M behind all of this.
Why would mind be capitalized? Oh, we're gonna go with Dapper's a professional right now because my Jackson thing just got messed up because apparently yeah, I'm doing stupid things.
I messed up. No.
You're fine. You're fine.
Whew.
Has to be an intelligent designer, and he's the one that made those capital letters, not me. Intelligent source. Now watch, this is funny. The best confirmation of this radical gulf between the physical world and the living world, and being so complex, is Richard Dawkins' comical effort to argue.
Yes, they are. Last I checked.
Just curious.
Hold on. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go double check. I'm gonna find a living thing that isn't me and see if it's actually a ghost. In the meantime, Jackson, why don't you tell people about your favorite non-cephalopod, non-bivalve, non-gastropod of mollusks? I've made it pretty restrictive on purpose. Go.
Okay. Well, I am a big fan of monoplacophorans. You see, monoplacophorans they look sort of similar to gastropods, sort of outwardly. And they were thought to be extinct, believe it or not. You see that it wasn't until the 1950s think it was the 1960s. There was a a submarine that found a monoplacophoran after they were thought to have gone extinct in what I believe was the Devonian period. But this submarine managed to get one, and they brought it back. And then there was a person who, reflecting upon this, was like, "Wow, we can, understand the whole evolution of cephalopoda now with these guys." Which was kind of interesting. Although polyplacophorans and aplacophorans are also pretty neat. We actually have we have some polyplacophorans at the aquarium. We don't have aplacophorans or monoplacophorans. Oh, sorry, it's scaphalopods.
No, don't be sorry,
Scaphalopods are also mollusks that he did not mention.
Jackson, pro tip: when I say I'm back, by the way, that's for you to hear, not for everyone else to hear.
Oh,
yeah, that's okay. So thank you very much, Jackson. I just pet 2 dogs. Neither one of them seemed to be a ghost.
Okay.
They were both like opaque and not see-through. Although I know some animals are see-through, so like they both were solid to the touch, which I have touched see-through animals. In fact, I touched a see-through animal when I was at the aquarium. It was a jellyfish. You were there. You saw it.
I did.
And it was in fact solid and not like insubstantial. So I think animals and organisms generally are part of the living world. Now, earlier today, I did touch part of a cactus. I like the thing with those doorstops where they twang when you hit them.
Mm-hmm.
I did that kind of thing with a cactus like earlier today.
Oh,
yeah. And that seemed to also be solid and insubstantial. Now, I didn't go out and hug that cactus or anything as well as cactus and spikes. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a ghost either. I think that, yes, living things are part of the material world. Now, I want to say we've got a super chat and a gifted memberships. So Lieutenant Math Navigator says, I see a red video and I want to paint it white. A red video. Oh, like the thumb. Wait, no. I don't know what the context is for that. I'm sorry. Then Joshua Geese gives 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. So thank you very much. I will take 5 drinks. And Jackson will describe what his favorite non-Archosaur, non-extant Lepidosaur group is. So just favorite non-extant Lepidosaur group.
wait, any group that is not a Lepidosaur?
No, any group that is a Lepidosaur and that is not extant.
Oh, okay. All right, I got one. Mosasaurs are not extant. I had to think about that for a minute. Okay. Yes.
But they're lizards, which are.
Yeah, mosasaurs are lepidosaurs, but they are extinct, in fact. They are in some kind of a trichotomy with snakes and
Monitor lizards.
Monitor lizards, there we go, yeah. It's kind of debated because there was Tetrapodopus that was initially found that was thought to be an early quadrupedal snake, but there was a reanalysis of it, if I'm recalling correctly, that actually repositioned it as an early diverging mosasaur, which but I'd have to go back and look at it again. But I think mosasaurs are cool. There's a really cool exhibit at the Dallas Perot Museum that's about the evolution of mosasaurs.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty cool that you picked a kind of lizard, something we still have. You're wrong about that being a pretty cool kind of non-extant Lepidosaur. Really, the correct answer is Coristodera rather than mosasaur. But that's okay. I forgive you. I'm a little disappointed that you didn't think of them, even though we had a conversation about Coristoderans in person. Just 2 days or 3 days.
If I talked about Coristoderans in my class, and I mentioned I did not.
Yeah, well, I was giving you an opportunity to talk about Coristoderans, but you ruined it. That's okay. Naranda puts, who's been a member for 26 months, thank you so much, says, I just got here and suddenly ghost animals. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get here on the Dapper Dinosaur channel. Sometimes you might get someone saying that, or implying, I should say, that organisms aren't part of the physical world, which They are. Lieutenant Meth Navigator for $5 says, "Are these the kind of dogs that have bony pinnae?" No, they are not. However, they are also the kind of dogs that do have bones, because as I already knew, but as I suspect many people watching that video from Clint's Reptiles did not know, not all dogs have bones. In fact, there are some dogs that don't even have tissues or organs. So, take that. In fact, I believe specifically that all the dogs without bones are dingoes, if I remember correctly.
Dogs without bones.
What? Jackson, are you unaware that there are dingoes without bones?
Is like deceased ones?
No. Living dogs right now that don't have any bones, and they're dingoes. That's how they live their entire lives. No bones.
Am I missing something?
I don't. Well, probably because you don't know about the dingoes that don't have bones. It's a
What?
transmissible form of cancer that's spread venereally through a dog population. And
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, like the canine transmissible venereal tumor?
That is exactly what we're talking about.
Well, what I'm thinking of, canine transmissible venereal tumor, well, I guess there are different ones, because there's one in North American dogs that came from pre-contact dogs about
there's
9,000 years ago.
Then I guess there's two kinds of boneless dogs.
There may even be more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there are multiple independent origins for canine transmissible venereal tumor. I really wouldn't be surprised.
There seems to be there seems to be at least one kind of boneless marsupial.
Oh,
Specifically,
the Tasmanian
devil. Yeah, facial tumors.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a few more things here. Jake Dapper Inside Joke Nelson, who's been a member for 32 months, says, "Painted black, Rolling Stones, I see a red door." Oh, okay. Now I get that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I never was going to get that one. I'm sorry. I don't often get musical references in chat, in part because, like, for me, I need to have the music going, and in part because I just don't know as many music things as I do other things. Joran Daxford 9059, who's been a member for 27 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, "AIG are a bag of serpents made of bones with a Godzilla." Thank you very much. There's a drink. I did actually hear someone claim once that snakes have the most bones of any creature. And I'm not sure. I think they have the most bones of any vertebrate, but I am not convinced that that certain echinoderms might not have them beat. They have very dense skeletal structures. And I guess then the argument is, like, are those bones? I don't know. What do you think, Jackson? Are the skeletal elements of echinoderms bones?
I would say no. I would say
Huh?
they're well, okay, because when I think bone, I think like, well, shoot, even in that case, there's like endochondral versus dermal bones, but then you're talking about like ossicle, like dermal ossicles or whatever for echinoderms. So I don't know. Are we just talking about like skeletal structures in general? Because if so, I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's up to us. And I would say that if it's made of hydroxyapatite and it is biogenerated by an animal, then it's a bone. And I would say that by that definition, I believe that most echinoderms have snake's beak. What do you think?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I need to look up something for one
Okay.
second.
Well, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, "So boneless dogs are spread by boning." That is correct. Pibble Punk, who's been a member for 20 months, says, "Maybe Bad Jackson should hug a cactus for science." I agree. He probably should. That would probably improve.
Okay,
most
wait.
things.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Echinoderm ossicles are mostly calcium carbonate.
Oh, boom. They don't count as bones then. All right, maybe it is snakes.
Cause I had to look that up. I was
Okay.
now I'm curious. Let me look up other
Jackson has to look up all of the things about bones. I'm going to hit play while he looks up bones.
In his book, The God Delusion, that the origin of life can be attributed to a lucky chance. If that's the best argument you have, then the game is over.
I don't think it is. Because lots of things happen as a result of lucky chance. Like, lots of things. Yeah, I don't know.
Also, if you're really interested in learning about philosophy of religion, don't read The God Delusion.
Yeah, it's abysmal. Yeah. I honestly
have read that book.
Ugh,
Don't do
sorry.
it.
I think there's very few things that were worse for the philosophy of atheism that have happened in like the last century than the God Delusion. It has influenced so many people in really dumb ways. And I don't mean by making them stop
Yeah.
believing in God. I don't care about that question. But in many, many other ways, it has made people act and talk in ways that are unhelpful to anyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has confused all sorts of terms that used to be reasonably well defined, and common parlance was reasonably well in line with how philosophers talked about these things. And it's made a lot of people who would otherwise be probably somewhat interested in and perhaps even proficient at philosophy of religion topics like atheism, just not become proficient in those things because they think they already are, because Richard Dawkins told them stupid things. So
yeah, of the 4 horsemen, the only one I would trust on philosophy of religion at all would be Daniel Dennett, and he's not. I don't even think he's not a philosopher of religion by background. I don't.
Well,
think so.
I'm not a scientist by background, and yet I have a science channel. So
I'm just thinking about them because, like, I mean, Harris and Hitchens were like social commentators. Dawkins, was a biologist, and like Dennett was a philosopher at least, but I think he did mostly like consciousness stuff like that. I think
Zerulon has checked it out, and pythons have the most bones. Some species having almost 2,000 bones. That's a lot of bones.
That's a lot of bones.
Yeah. That's an order of magnitude more bones than I'd have.
However, like if you do decide to read Dawkins, he has some good books like The Ancestor's Tale.
Absolutely.
Or alternatively, if you don't want to read Dawkins, you could watch my Ancestor's Tale videos that I did. So you don't even have to come into contact with Richard Dawkins.
Yeah, he is kind of someone I try to avoid overall, mostly because of his bigotry, not necessarily because of his bad philosophy, and in many cases, decent science books.
Yeah. Oh, The Greatest Show on Earth. Great book.
Yes.
Really good book.
I actually talked about that with one of my brothers earlier this week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you mentioned you'd read it. I mean, The Selfish Gene's decent. The Blind Watchmaker's pretty good. The Extended Phenotype. I mean, yeah, science books are pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
No, I didn't hear a voice. It was the evidence itself that led me to this conclusion. Guys, there's gotta be a God. Give it up. Let's all...
Borg Emporia asks how many bones a dinosaur have. So it varies. Modern dinosaurs have very low bone counts because they have so many fusions. So if you count fused bones as one bone, modern birds have, I think in some cases, under 100. But most non-avian dinosaurs had considerably more than that because they didn't have like fused metatarsals and metacarpals and huge amounts of fusion all over the like the as much fusion in the sacral. They certainly did have a lot of sacral fusion, but also a lot of dinosaurs had many more vertebrae, and so like it just varies a lot. So like there's no one answer to that question. How many bones does a dinosaur have? To be fair, there's also no one answer to how many bones does a mammal have, right? So yeah. If you're asking about any specific species, I would have to look up the answer. I don't have any bone counts for any species of dinosaur in my head. Goop23, who's been a member for 40 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, "What about Ancestor's Tale with a monkey emoji?" We mentioned that.
Yeah, and I am doing a whole series on it. So you can read his book, which is a good book, or you could watch my series in which I go through every single chapter of said book, and also give you a lot more information.
I say give Jackson the views because that gets Jackson money, and Jackson.
Yeah, true.
Whereas Richard Dawkins,
I think the trans are just fine.
I mean, generally, yeah. There are some crappy
Yeah.
trans people, but there are also some crappy cis people. I think it's about
True.
proportionally the same. Because every group has their crappy members.
True.
So I can't just say, well, trans people are great. Like, most of them seem to be. But I'm also aware of some pretty crappy ones. Like every other demographic. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, I thought the animal that has the most bones was the moopsie. It just doesn't have them all at once. And they weren't always theirs. Well, first of all, is the moopsie an animal? I would argue no, because animal is a clade of organisms from Earth, and moopsies aren't from Earth. But also, I guess you could say that if you count the bones that it drinks, then yeah, it probably has the most bones. And if you're wondering how you can drink a bone, just go watch Lower Decks. They'll tell you. Oh, yeah, as Normandy Foxtrot points out, it's not even constant across the same species. Pigs can have different numbers of vertebrae and ribs. So can horses. Actually, so can humans. Scoop23 says, you missed my tail pun. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Yep, you put it as Tail. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, Goop2. That was a professional. We'll take a drink for it. That counts. All right, Sapphire Rip Names Light, who's been a member for 42 months, says, as a trans, I think Good Jackson is pretty all right too with a Mothra. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. Let's see. Here we go. I almost hit the wrong play button.
Oh, atheists, come on, let's just give it up. We don't know what this God is or anything, but evolution don't work, and there's got to be a God. This is Eric Lander, who's worked on many projects before. I
don't think I've ever heard of this guy.
I also don't think I've ever heard of this guy.
Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and this is from the New York Times in 2006. Notice the article, Far from Junk DNA.
Remind me, is the New York Times a peer-reviewed outlet, Jackson?
Negative.
So Charles Jackson still is keeping his streak of just never actually citing an actual source about the topic. Just going strong. Yeah. It seems like Charles Jackson is just allergic to actually citing scholarly sources, which, given that he claims to be a PhD, makes me wonder if that PhD... If anyone wants to look into his PhD and let me know, feel free, because I would love to be able to stop calling him Dr. Jackson. I actually just recently found out that another creationist whose PhD I thought was real it's not a real PhD.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an honorary PhD from an unaccredited school that doesn't even give out degrees in that field.
Oh.
That's like 3 steps of fake.
Let's see. He does not have a Wikipedia page. So that's okay. Let me see. I'll check his
While you check, I'll hit play.
Today, dark matter proves crucial to health. It's crucial to your health matters. At least 4 million gene switches that reside in the bits of DNA once dismissed as junk. 4 million turn on, turn off gate portals in the instruction sequence and the analog processing system of your DNA. 4 million.
Okay. I don't know if you know, but finding some uses for previously thought to be junk DNA doesn't negate the idea of junk DNA, right? Like, you can even think about this with your junk drawer, right? Most houses have a junk drawer. It's that drawer where you put stuff that you probably don't need much, but you probably need it occasionally, right? It might have some thumbtacks in there. It might have some twine or string. It might have, I don't know, like some scissors or rubber bands, stuff like that, right? Like this, whatever. You just put it in there, and you don't really think about it until you kind of need it, and then you discover, oh, hey, thumbtacks, those are useful. Suddenly they're not junk. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you're ever going to use that menu from a Chinese restaurant that went out of business 3 years ago that you stuffed in that junk drawer. That's still junk, right? Like, that's not going to change. So, yeah, the fact that you found a use for those tacks doesn't mean that everything in your junk drawer is in fact useful. And unlike you, organisms can't really just like root through their junk DNA to see what actually is junk or not and get rid of the useless stuff. They don't really have that as an option normally. So it just kind of sticks around. So imagine if whatever you ever put in a junk drawer, it just never came out, right? Okay, yeah, every once in a while something in there would turn out to be useful. That's great. That doesn't mean you don't have an ever-growing junk drawer. Now, this analogy isn't great because no analogy for genetics is, but the fact is that all proposed uses for junk DNA, apart from just being a mutation buffer, which isn't so much function as it is just a byproduct of existing, all of those proposed uses require sequence specificity, which means that all of them would induce some amount of purifying selection. That is, natural selection keeping them within a constrained like space of sequence space. But we also know that like 80-ish% of the human genome is under no sequence constraint whatsoever, which means it can't be doing any of the functions that any creationist has ever proposed. We know that for a fact. So until they come up with new functions that no one has ever proposed before, they proposed every actual function that anyone has ever found. Yeah, the answer is no, I'm sorry. There just is junk DNA. And also, in case you're wondering, this whole talk is in fact supposed to be about Charles Jackson claiming that there is no junk DNA. And I'm also just noticing he has a giant pectoral cross. Does like he think he's a Charles Jackson? Look at his chest. It's a really big cross.
There is a really big cross on his chest.
Does he think that he's like an Eastern Christian priest or something? I'm pretty sure he's not.
He might be worried about vampires.
Maybe
he's on his guard at all times.
Which actually, now that I think about it, I guess that would mean that Eastern Christian priests are pretty much like immune from vampires, which would make sense since vampire legends that as we now have them seem to have some like origination in like Transylvania, where the general dominant form of Christianity is one of the Eastern versions of Christianity. That's why in Bram Stoker's Dracula, in that scene where Mina and Jonathan get married, that might have actually been a real marriage performed by it was definitely performed by a real priest in a real church, on the actual humans, Keanu Reeves and who's the name of the woman who played Mina Harker? I know her name. She was in Stranger Things. Come on, Jackson, know all the celebrity names. Just know them all.
I mean, I know a fair few, but I have not seen this.
Winona Ryder.
Oh, okay. I do know who Winona Ryder is.
Yeah, so there's a small chance that in Romania, Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves are legally married. Probably not, but like, it's not clear that priest knew that he was doing a fake marriage for a movie, because it was a real priest in a real church. So,
I did want to tell you, I found out that Charles Jackson got his PhD, or sorry, his education degree, his EDD, at the University of Virginia, which is a real university.
All right. Does the University of Virginia not require you to like cite real academic sources for your degrees?
Oh, I'm certain it does, because according to the description, like Nobel laureates and people of various stripes have gone there.
So he does know better. He's
absolutely
just being horrible.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I do also want to say that I am double checking the Patreon. So if we get Patreon additional members over there, I will count that as 2 times for the funding on today's show for getting a vote on time off and fancy avatar. So if you are currently not a patron and you are considering it, please go for it. It is definitely where I get the most of the money that people send me. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I love how young Earth creationists say the most famous-ist says, quote, whatever. And my reaction as a ist is, who the F is that? Yeah, they do like to sometimes pick some very obscure people and be like, as this famous scientist man said. Like, really? Is that a famous scientist man? Because I've never heard of that person. Let's see. Jillian Wren was having trouble finding where his PhD was from. Right Hand Sith says, I don't have a junk drawer, I have a junk room. Nice. Vandalia 1998 for $2 says, do young Earth creationists get fake associate and bachelor's degrees too? I actually don't think so, but I don't actually know. But then again, I guess sometimes they do, because like Eric Hovind has a 1-year degree from an unaccredited school, Jackson Hole Bible College. Now, it was like kind of accredited when he got it, but like it's not accredited now. And it was only ever accredited by a very, very shady organization. So,
I mean, if you say like I have a bachelor's degree in like biology, for instance, most people are just going to be like, okay. It just doesn't sound as authoritative as I have a PhD in this subject. Like, oh, okay, you contributed to the sum of human knowledge on this topic. You must know something about it.
Yeah, bachelor's degrees don't come with a whole lot of clout.
Yeah.
Instruction portals, pivot points, were in the junk DNA. They found them in the junk. Take that, Dr. Friels and Dr. Carr. They turn out to play critical roles in controlling how cells, organs, and other tissues behave. As scientists delved into the junk, parts of the DNA that are not actual genes containing instructions for proteins.
All right, well, I now know this guy, whoever he is or was full of shit when he wrote this. Because the definition for junk DNA has never just been non-coding DNA.
Nope.
We have known that there are parts of the genome that did things other than code for proteins for longer than the term junk DNA has existed, and when it was proposed, it was for non-functional, not non-coding DNA. So I don't know who this guy is or was. I don't know what got him to write this. I don't know why he was doing any of this. But what I do know is that he is misrepresenting the term junk DNA in this article, presuming that this quotation is accurate. I don't know that it is, but I also don't have any good reason to think that it isn't. Well, except that it's being given by a young Earth creationist, and they are notoriously dishonest with most things, and especially quotations. So I guess for that reason, this might be a lie on the part of whoever put these slides together, presumably Charles Jackson. But as it stands right now, it seems like this guy is just misrepresenting the term.
Yeah, which he's not the first person to make that error. So.
Not even close. Arrow Dodger for $4.99 says, these obscure science men would rather disappear from history than be quoted for evil. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I would rather just be forgotten about than have, like, my legacy be making the world worse. Like, just continuously. Yeah. I don't know. What about you, Jackson? Would you rather be infamous and make the world worse for years to come after your death? Or be forgotten about?
No, I think the latter, definitely.
Okay. Well, everyone, let's forget about Jackson.
They discovered a complex system that controls genes that do make proteins. Dr. Lander said, my head explodes at the amount of data. This is the guy who said natural selection is the greatest tinkerer of all time. He's an avid evolutionist.
I mean, he was not the first person to say that. That was, oh my gosh, one of the guys who, was it Jacques Monod, I think was the one who said that? It was that,
I mean, I wouldn't know.
Is the great tinkerer. He was one of the guys who discovered the lac operon in E. coli. So.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty important operon.
It is. Yep.
In case anyone doesn't know, an operon is a group of genes and promoters that are activated as a block in bacteria, and they all have related functions. The bacterial genome is organized very differently than eukaryotic genome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thierry Rana says, I could sell poor quality copper once. Yeah, there's a guy who's never going to be forgotten. My goodness. Imagine being legendary for being like a scammer for like 5,000 years. Like, my goodness.
That is pretty wacky. Yeah.
Jake Dapper Inside Joke Nelson says Jackson Wheat plus pitch shift equals Hans Vermhat. Jackson, I've never seen you and Hans in the same room at the same time. Are you secretly Hans Vermhat? Wormhat, whatever?
I don't think so, but I can't rule it out.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so I don't know if he's still like making stuff, but for a while he was on YouTube, and basically his main shtick was one, transvestigations, which gross.
Yeah, that's definitely not me then.
No, and his other thing though was pointing to animals that he heard of but had not seen in the wild in person, and saying that they were obviously fake. And it's like, why? He's like, red pandas, those are fake. Probably just died raccoons or something. It's
I've
like,
literally seen them at zoos.
But he hasn't. Gorillas, just guys in suits. Same thing for bears. guys in suits. And it's
You
like,
know,
what?
I was talking with Camilla one day. It was a few months ago, I think, and we were discussing just how sad the world must be for like deeply conspiratorial people. You know, like everyone's out to get you. Everything sucks. There's always like people plotting against you. Nothing is cool and like surprising and wonderful. Just it just must suck to live in that kind of world, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely, yeah. No, 100%. Let's see. We got a few things. Well, Ashley loves Blahai for $10 says, Yulton Kubneljsub, which apparently is bottom for AIG is a bag of dicks. So we'll take a drink. I believe you. What's your favorite extant and extinct genre? By which, obviously, she means genera. Mine are Acrocanthosaurus and Panthera with a curly Q smiley. Then also the sequence mitochondria evolution is entirely random and mile equals square mile, which are all references to what is it? Dan Biddle from Genesis Apologetics. Jackson, what are your favorite extinct and extant genera?
My favorite extinct and extant genera. I think my favorite extant is Loxodonta.
Well, that's a really good
And
one.
then my favorite extinct? It's a tough one. What would be my favorite? I don't even know. I mean, I think Pachycetus is pretty cool.
Because yeah. See, I have trouble because like it varies, right? Like sometimes I
Right.
might say Loxodonta. There are other times when like I might pick Panthera, like Ashley. Like it's tough. There's a lot of really cool animals out there.
Yeah, my favorite, I think extant one I feel like is a lot easier than my favorite extinct one. I don't know. I just like different groups. I have different favorites. You know. Oh, that's just that one's a hard one.
Yeah, it really is. Like maybe it's Manus today
Yeah.
as my favorite extant, which, in case you're wondering, is in fact the generic name of the Indian pangolin,
Mhm.
which are adorable. As far as extinct, I mean, I could just say Ceratosaurus, right? It's a really good one.
It
And
is a good one.
it's
Yeah.
not my favorite dinosaur genus, but it might be my favorite extinct dinosaur. But I also like Tylosaurus. Um, I like Mammuthus. There's a bunch I like. Heck, I
I like
even off
Anomalocaris. That one's
no,
pretty
that's
cool.
is a really good one. Although I prefer Opabinia if I'm going to go for Cambrian
Opabinia is
invertebrates.
cool.
Yeah,
Hallucigenia is pretty cool.
yeah.
You know, a lot of
I
those Cambrian lobopods are neat.
don't know. It's like asking a bibliophile what their favorite letter is. I don't know. They're all great. Um, yeah, actually, it's totally derailed the stream, as Aerodoctor points out. Also, actually, hit me up if I take the day off on Thursday, and we should do some of the new Space Marine 2 content. Because Space Marine 2 drop new content, and Ashley and I play Space Marine 2 together sometimes. So, yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it. At least I do. I assume she does. I hope she does.
Now realizes there's no such thing as junk DNA. Now I want you to see.
That is absolutely not what he just said. He did not say that there was no such thing as junk DNA. I don't like what he said. I think it was misrepresenting what the actual case is. But he absolutely did not say that there was no junk DNA. In fact, that is upsetting to me to the level that we're going to take a quick break. I am going to have some water that is not like almost half alcohol. And we'll be back in just a little bit. In the meantime, please enjoy the teaser trailer for the next episode of Star Trek Adventures, which should be this Friday. Although, sadly, I don't believe Maddie will be. But yeah, we'll be right back.
Captain's Log Stardate 60584.4. Starfleet Command just issued revised navigational data for the sector. The recent destruction of the Amargosa star has caused fluctuations to the ambient magnetic field, requiring minor adjustments to the warp engines and navigational systems. Engineering assures me that making these alterations to the ship's systems will have minimal impact on efficiency. More importantly, we recently received a message from Narendra that a runabout called the Susquehanna has gone missing in the Carnia Nebula, deep within the Shackleton Expanse. The Susquehanna was investigating an unusual alien signal that originated from the nebula when all contact was lost. We have been ordered to enter the nebula, find the runabout, and determine the origin and cause of the alien signal. Starfleet has also advised that Romulan and Ferengi ships have been sighted in the region, so we should exercise caution since they likely detected the alien signal as well. We've been carefully searching the nebula for several hours, but finding the missing runabout has turned out to be an excruciating process. Sensors are extremely limited due to the effect of the nebula, making the odds of finding the runabout slim. We have, however, located the source of the alien signal, a small dusty planet called Seku 6. We've set course for the Seku system in hopes of finding the missing runabout.
Okay, we are back. Thank you. First, I want to say thank you to Ashley, who did in fact confirm that that she has fun when we play Space. She pointed out that she wouldn't ask me to play, wasn't having fun when we do it. So that makes sense. And thank you for helping me with my own personal anxieties there. Because, anyway, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, the runabout is oot and a boot. It's true. That Susquehanna, they're gonna have to find it. Yeah. So, where am I? Oh, right. Oh, hey, first, Lieutenant Math Navigator, 5 Dapper Dinosaur membership, so thank you very much. We will take those drinks after these messages from me. I was gonna say from my sponsors, but that's you. This is actually me. So, this channel is operated on a budget that is entirely provided by people like you watching, people who enjoy the channel, fans you might say, who generously opt to help keep the channel going by spending money on super chats, memberships, gifted memberships, super stickers, the Patreon, merch, stuff like that. So, first I want to say thank you so much. Second, if you are enjoying this channel and you want to see it keep going and you are considering like some kind of ongoing support, the Patreon and the channel memberships are the two best ways to do that. I encourage the Patreon, especially since it's where I get to keep the largest portion of what people give me. So please head over there if you're thinking about it at all. But the memberships also help me out. Both of them give you access to my super secret Discord server that I talk about a lot, which makes it very, very secret, because that's the first rule of secrets, is you talk about them a lot. That also gives you access to early access videos. One should be going up tomorrow. It's the cursed video that I really, really, really am tired of. But hopefully it's a good video. I think it's pretty good. Let's see. There are higher perks at higher tiers. The Patreon starts at $1 a month. You can get a 50% discount if you go annually. The membership starts at $1.99. I put the lowest tier as a little bit higher just because I do actually keep less of what I get on there. Yeah. But also, if like a monthly or an annual pledge isn't like something you want to do, but you want to help out anyway, I have an Amazon wish list. I have a merch store. You can super chat membership, or not membership chat, but you can super chat. You can give memberships. You can use super stickers, super thanks. All of those help out. If you are looking for ways to help out that do not involve you giving money to me, but that still materially help the channel, liking videos, sharing videos, even if you just hit the share button and share it to your own email, that still helps. Commenting on the videos, all that stuff helps. Also, if you want to help me get things done, like, help me speed up the rate at which I can re-render a video, like I had to do for this video, there's Sheepit, which Borg Emporia is reminding me of. Thank you very much, Borg Emporia. Sheepit is the render farm that I use to get my animations done, not just for this channel, but also for Top Hats Off, my second channel. And the way that works is you can go to the description. There will be a how to render for me section. You download the client that is from the link that's in there, and you use the login information that's in there. There's a login name and a login key. It's not my password for my account, but it will mean that if you put your computer on to render with that client, and you use that key, then as far as Sheepit is concerned, you are me in terms of generating points. Because the way Sheepit works is when other people are assigned my frames for my animations, it costs me points. And when I render frames for other people, I gain points. And the priority with which my frames are assigned to other people is dependent on how many points I have compared to the other people who also have frames who want to get them rendered. So ultimately, the more you render on Sheepit, faster my frames are assigned, which means the faster they are rendered. And yes, Borg Emporia does do his bit to help, and it really is appreciated. Right now, let's see, where am I on Sheepit? Last I checked, I was in 15th place out of several thousand people. Now I'm in 14th place. So I'm in the top 1% of renderers. So thank you very much. We've got 11 computers, which doesn't actually include the one I'm streaming from right now, because, well, I'm streaming, that are connected. So I do want to say thank you so much. All right. Now with all that mercenary stuff out of the way, good Jackson. Are you ready?
I am of the ready variety.
All right, here we go.
Another wave of international, worldwide reports of new research data came out 5 years later in 2012, and it was de coup de grace. It was the...
Is he going to start talking about the 2014 ENCODE paper?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I think he is.
Again.
I think he is.
Not again.
Moment of truth. It was it. It actually killed in all the literature for all the evolutionists on the planet. It killed the old
He's
junk
absolutely
DNA.
talking about ENCODE.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
He's
when he
absolutely
mentions
talking
ENCODE, we'll take a drink for a confirmed prediction.
Oh.
A myth. But they never talk about the 50 years they screamed and laughed at us.
But that's because nothing has changed since then. ENCODE did nothing to change the consensus on junk DNA. You can tell because the consensus persists.
For saying, you're going to say that someday we're going to find out what it's doing. Dr. Jackson. Well.
Yeah. It turns out that when you say things that are true, but you do it in a mocking manner, that doesn't make them false. It just makes the person who's using the mocking manner look like an idiot, which in this case is Charles Jackson.
You know, I think it's funny. Not everyone maybe, but a lot of people do like the dumb voice in a Southern accent. I, as a Southern person, also do the dumb voice in a Southern accent.
I think that counts as permission.
You know, do what?
I said I think that counts as permission.
I was denied tenure at his college, but
Were you ever actually on a tenure track there, Charles Jackson? Because I honestly find that hard to believe.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't buy that.
Because let's think about what does it mean to be denied tenure?
In fairness, he said he was denied tenure. He's probably technically not wrong. He may have like put in an application for it and they went, ha, no.
Okay, but like I could have put in an application for tenure at every university I can think of, and they're all going to say, "Ha, no," but not because like they're discriminating against me, but like because I shouldn't be given tenure anywhere.
But I mean, I would imagine that's probably the same for him.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Creation Myths pops in, says, "I was denied tenure." First words I hear, yeah. I am pressing X to doubt on being denied tenure. I think it's more that he just was never actually accepted on any tenure track. Because to me, when someone says I was denied tenure, what it means is like you were on a tenure track, but then your university was like, nope, we're actually not going to offer you tenure.
Right.
And to me, if you're only associated with the university as like a part-time professor who's not on a tenure track, or you're just applying for a professorship or something like that, that's not being denied tenure. You were never in the running for tenure.
Right. You have to be an active research participant as well as like teaching classes to be considered for tenure. You must be doing those things. You can't be like doing random lectures on your hobby.
Yeah.
And you just so happen to have a PhD also or an EDD and like you get tenure. Like that's not how that works.
Yeah, which I think is what's going on here at best. And if it's not, hey, Charles Jackson, please let me know who denied you tenure at what university, what tenure track program you were a part of, right? Like, let me know these things, because if you were actually denied tenure for something like believing in God or something, that's not okay. And I would be willing to publicize that.
And, I mean, creationists love to say this sort of thing. They love to say, I got denied tenure, or I was fired from my job at a university, or I was let go from this, scientific journal because I'm a Christian or something. And it's always lies. Every time it's a lie.
Yeah. I can't rule it out as ever being a possibility, but like I've never investigated it and found it to be true. And I think you've done the same, and you've certainly investigated more often than I have.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but of the examples that I have looked into, whether it's Stephen Meyer or Richard, was it Sternberg, I think was his name, or Triceratops guy, I forgot his name.
Mark Armitage, yeah.
Or whoever. It's always, every time I've looked into it. Or Tony Reed at How Creationism Taught Me Real Science. He also has done a couple videos.
Yes, he has.
Like where he did just like a smorgasbord of examples, and every single one of them is they lied about why they got fired, or were simply not even necessarily fired. Their job position was simply not reopened.
Yeah, that's what happened to Mark Armitage.
Yeah, it's like you signed a contract for working like 8 months or whatever at this lab, and then they didn't need you anymore. For whatever reason. Like,
I mean, it was a multi-year thing, but they closed down their microscope. And he was the guy running the microscope lab. So yeah, they didn't need him anymore. Which sucks, don't get me wrong, right?
Sure. I mean, it does sucks to lose your income, right? Yeah. That's fair. But like he lied about why they did it.
Right, that's not being fired for your Christianity or something. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, I was denied the Nobel Prize for Economics. I was too. You know what? Every year I get snubbed on that Nobel Prize for Economics, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
Grievous, I'm not positive, for $10 says, I was fired for my religion. Looks inside, editorial fraud. Yeah, that was a thing too, wasn't it? Oh, you just
that was Sternberg, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you just let a paper get published in our journal without any peer review at all? Well, that's misconduct. You're fired. Help, I'm being oppressed. Okay.
Yeah, because he let Meyer run a paper, I think it was on the Cambrians, through with no peer review. Yeah, and they said, "Oh, yeah, you can't do that. You're fired." So
It's
get bent.
absolutely unacceptable. Like, it's not okay in any imagination. I guess it would be okay at many creationist locations, since, like, well, creationists don't really have peer review in the first place. But, like, outside of creationist fake faux journals, yeah, that's not how anything works.
It's just Andrew Snelling reading your paper and being like, sounds good. Why not?
Yeah. This doesn't immediately strike me as something that I wouldn't like if it were true. So therefore, it's approved.
There was I mean, all of his videos are great. A video by Sean recently, I think it's his most recent video, where he goes through a bunch of different people who like were in academia, and each one of them was like, I got fired because the woke. And it's like, actually, you sent out a bunch of like really racist remarks to other people at the university.
Or in a few cases, like, you were actually committing, like, you know, like, crimes against students.
Yeah, you groomed a student, you revealed personal information to students. Like, yeah, no, of course you got fired.
Yeah, like,
but they're
deservedly so.
Oh, it was the big woke, or it was the lefty university or whatever. It's like, no, you groomed students. That's why you got fired.
Yeah, apparently, not being a sex pest is now woke. Huh. Weird.
Someone
word
tell Lawrence
seems...
Krauss.
Yeah. Oh, man. That word's got watered down a whole lot. Yeah. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, academics are famously understanding of academic misconduct and deception. Yeah, right? They love that stuff. They're just fine with it. Goodness. And like I said, look, it's not impossible that someone has ever been denied tenure or fired from a university or whatever for, like, inappropriately based on, like, viewpoint discrimination. Like, that's possible. But it's telling that every time I check into it, that's not what happened.
Yeah, and it's also really pathetic to see people who are respected go down that path. Like Professor Dave has been doing videos on Avi Loeb, who's an actual physicist. It was an actual physicist, right? Well, I mean, I would say he is because he's still alive, but like he's
not
writing
doing
papers.
physics anymore. He's doing pretend physics.
Right.
It's like I was a sailor. I'm not anymore. Not because I'm dead, because I don't sail anymore.
No, he was writing actual papers on like black holes and stuff, and was doing good work that got peer reviewed and everything, and he made an actual name for himself within the relevant community and was respected by his peers. And now he's doing alien stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
and not even like it's possible aliens are out there, kind of exobiology sort of stuff, but like no, the comets that come into our solar system are definitely alien structures.
Yeah. Also,
no.
I love his like, oh, what are the chances that we found this interstellar comet somewhere close to the ecliptic? Like, well, that's where we look for potential near Earth like asteroids and comets that could impact the Earth. So it's less that that's where they're coming from, and more that that's where we're looking.
Right.
It's kind of like if you just were looking under. Like, let's say you're out at night and you're looking for scorpions, and you're like, the only place you're checking though is under street lamps. That's where you can see the scorpions, and then you find like 5 scorpions in a row under street lamps, and you're like, my goodness, scorpions must love street lamps. It's like, no, you're just not checking anywhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Now, what are the odds that all of these scorpions would be under street lamps? Well, 100%, because
the forks are found in the kitchen.
Yeah, like that's the only place you're looking. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Human DNA is a lot more active than we expected. Who expected? The evolutionists, because the predictions of the Darwinian precepts.
Okay, but active isn't the same thing as functional, because we actually know what most of the activity that ENCODE found, which is what I'm very confident he's talking about right now. And most of it was things like spurious transcription or being a binding site for like methyl groups, which like isn't function. In fact, the fact that it's called spurious transcription should probably tell you that it's not function. And being a location that methyl groups bind to means that that DNA isn't actually available to do things in the cell because it's bound up in a methyl group. which means that the RNA, or like RNA polymerase and whatnot, can't really get to it. So, yeah, it's true that there was a huge amount of activity that ENCODE found, and then they decided to call that function in their initial publication in 2014.
Mhm.
But then later on, like, 2 years later, 2016, I think it
It
was?
got dragged so bad.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, actually, turns out our definition for function was overly broad, and that biochemical activity probably isn't a good definition for function, because of course it isn't.
Yeah, and the second paper they wrote was a decent paper, right? Because that one of the figures in it shows, so they're like, okay, even within their figure, the entire genome is not active,
Right.
even within their figure. So like even if you take ENCODE's own work, the entire genome is not active.
Yeah.
And then of the active region, they assign like, okay, this is the region that's biochemically active in any way, shape, or form. And then there's a much, much smaller circle that's protein coding regions. There's, like a region that's a little bit larger that's like evolutionarily conserved regions, right? So it's like you want something. So the regions we're looking at that are most relevant to biology are, there's going to be like more than one singular transcript in like per cell, because that was another thing they found of the, as Dapper mentioned, of the biochemical activities, most of them would be like there's less than like one of these per cell, essentially.
Yeah, which isn't doing anything. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so it's like it's not doing anything. A bunch of these regions are not evolutionarily conserved, so if the function matters, why is it not being subject to selection? Yeah,
the answer is it's probably not doing anything. At least not anything that's important for the organism in any way, shape, or form. And if you say, well, it's gonna have some kind of biochemical activity, it's a biomolecule. Okay, sure, great. I won't dispute that necessarily, but like, lots of things have biochemical activity that aren't what we would call functional in your body. If you take a bunch of cyanide, it'll have a whole bunch of biochemical activity. I wouldn't say that cyanide is a functional part of your body in that case.
Right, the dust on your action figures on the shelves is functional, don't you know?
Yeah, it does stuff. Like, it sits there, and sometimes it adheres more dust to it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was going to say, I don't have any action figures, but I actually do have a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord that's up on a shelf, and I think that counts.
Well, as you saw, I have some clones.
You do, some clone troopers.
So, yeah. So they are keeping us protected at night.
Actually, a clone trooper minifig attended my brother's wedding.
Nice.
Because my other brother's son is really into Lego Star Wars. Like, he's really into Star Wars overall, but he's especially into Lego Star Wars. Got a bunch of the kits, plays with them all the time. But when he plays with them, he usually just sets up scenes. He's not usually like, acting out battles or whatever. He likes to just set up like a diorama, which is really cool as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But yeah, he sent one of his favorite clone trooper minifigs with his father, my brother, to the wedding, with instructions to take pictures of the minifig at the wedding doing things. So we have a picture of the bride and groom holding the minifig, the groom with the minifig in his pocket looking out, the minifig on like various tables at the wedding reception area, stuff like that. So it was fun. Very cute.
Nice.
A lot more active than we expected, and there are a lot more things happening than we expected. Look what it goes down here.
Yeah, there's so much more spurious transcription than we expected. Cool.
Yeah, that's what that means, right? Like, it's not what you're looking for there, Charles. I'm just gonna take a drink. This is very stupid. In fact, I believe someone else like even said that it would count as a key for like the 2 keys to launch necessary for the bingo cards. So yeah, well, let's take a drink. There we go.
Anyone predicted?
Wait, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says something because the stupid YouTube studio ran out of memory. Jackson should tell his clones to get to work on the clankers. I think that just means get. Jackson, tell your clones to get to work on the clankers.
Okay, I will.
No
They're gonna
AI.
blast those clankers.
Butlerian Jihad today. Let's go. Let's start it.
That would be the case. Liar! We predicted it. The creationists were shouting for 50 years as
No, you were predicting function, not just activity. Right?
Listen, I'll be so shocked if, if a creationist said actually the majority of the activity is spurious transcription. Like,
Yeah.
all right, if one of you did that, then okay, but I don't think you did.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anyone who did. And look, if you want to go with, actually, I do think that the correct definition for function is just any biochemical activity apart from replication. I'll say, okay, well, by that definition, yeah, the genome is vast. Like, the vast majority of it is, in fact, functional. But I no longer see why this would be a problem for us. It's like, you can have two options. Either you think it's a good definition for function, the one that ENCODE used in 2012, or 2014, sorry. In which case, vast amounts of functionality is not like an unpredicted event in evolution. It's just that people who actually accept evolution were not usually using the term that way. In fact, it would still be mostly predicted. It is no barrier to evolution at all. And it wasn't what creationists were actually predicting. So it doesn't help you in that case. Or function actually is something more than just biochemical activity, which is what pretty much everyone who knows what they're talking about thinks. In which case, there is junk DNA. So, like, there is no option that helps creationists. So, what do? Well, they lie about it. Obviously. And hey, we have beat the 3-minute mark, which means that we have watched now more of this than is what is the general expectation. It turns out that my audience generally expects me to get through about 3 minutes of any video in the course of 2 hours. So, we did it, everybody! Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, the audacity of this man to call others liars. Yeah, that's a common thing. Well, for a lot of people, right? It's that old trope of, like, every accusation is a confession. Creationists are deep into that territory.
loud as we could. You're gonna find a function for the junk sequences, the non-coding sequences someday. Nobody predicted. They knew we'd been saying this for all this time.
But what you're describing aren't functions, Charles. Having a sequence of DNA that gets transcribed occasionally at a rate of less than 1 instance per cell for any cell type, and that then often doesn't even make it to go become actually translated into a protein, that's not function. That's just a thing that happens. Right? I've used this comparison before. So, a lot of people have had, like, grandmothers or something who collected little porcelain figures, because that was a really popular thing back in the day. And they put them in little cabinets for display and whatnot. Some people have even inherited those things, right? So, you inherit grandma's cabinet full of porcelain figurines. But you don't collect porcelain figurines because you're like a human in the year 2025, where that's really not much of a thing that people still do. So, but you don't really want to throw them out, right? Because they're sentimental. They remind you of your grandma. So you just put them in some room and you don't really think about them or look at them or anything. And slowly, they start to accumulate dust. And Charles Jackson comes along and looks into this room and says, aha! These are the very important porcelain figurines in your house. And you're like, what are you talking about? I barely even think about these. They don't matter. Like, they don't do anything in my life. He's like, but look at all this dust that they're accumulating. Their purpose must be as a dust storage area. And then you just look at him like he has 3 heads, and you're like, I don't store dust, man. They just happen to do that. Yeah, he says, that's their function. That's stupid. That's exactly what he's doing. Anything that happens, I guess it counts as function. No, that's not how anyone thinks about function. Which is why ENCODE walked it back after they were raked over the coals by basically everyone. Because it was an obviously stupid thing to do. But they wanted big numbers, so I get it.
They knew it. They knew it. I'm sorry, he's lying to himself if he's not lying to everybody else.
Once again, projection. Creationists really, y'all need to change your careers from being creationists to just being the guy who runs the projector in movie theaters, because you're all experts at projection.
Nobody, I don't think anyone predicted that would be the case. It was.
Okay. There's another thing I need to point out to creationists. By and large, scientists don't know that you exist, in the same way that most scientists don't know that flat earthers exist, right? Because most scientists are busy doing their jobs, learning about the world, adding to the sum of human knowledge, and they don't think about the crazy fringe people who are lying to people in church pews for no particularly good reason that I can think. I can think of bad reasons, and they're the ones that creationists usually give. But yeah, they don't think about you. It's like when flat earthers are like, well, why doesn't NASA put a 24-hour webcam on the moon pointed at the Earth so we can see the Earth rotate? And how come and they just come up with all these things like, why doesn't NASA do this or that or this that they think that they'll pretend would convince them? There's two commonalities there. One, they don't think about you. They don't care about you. They know what they're doing, and they are not interested in proving what is obvious to everyone else to you. And the other thing is, you wouldn't believe it anyway.
Right. They'd be like, it's like CGI or something.
Right. And creationists do the same thing. No matter, look, as much as I appreciate Rebecca's stance in terms of trying to get Christians to come on board with being accepting of LGBTQ people, I will also point out that her series, Where's the Evidence for Evolution, is just a creationist doing this. Being presented time and time again with the thing that she says she wants, and then just saying, nah, I don't buy it. In fact, she did it with us personally when we talked to her.
Yep.
She wanted an example of a single-celled organism evolving to be multicellular, so we provided her with 2. And then she was just like, nah, I don't buy it. Okay, cool. Then why are you here? Why should anyone be paying attention to this dialogue? I don't know. Lieutenant Mathanavigator.
Yeah, that was a chat. That was certainly one of the chats ever that we've had.
I mean, like I said, I think that to the degree to which she is encouraging Christians to be less bigoted towards LGBTQ people, I appreciate her and her doing that. It really is important. We need more of that. However, I have trouble imagining that she is she was discussing in good faith when it comes to science and evolution. She just isn't. And I wish she would, in that case, just not bother. Because I would be much happier if she were just not engaging in what seems like dishonest dialogue, while also trying to get people to stop mistreating LGBTQ people. Than if she's, one, doing that good thing, but then also trying to counter it by just spreading intellectual dishonesty. Lieutenant Mathanavigator for $2 says, when will this man finish his autocolonoscopy? Sometime after he dies. Goop23 for $5 says, Bad Jackson's logic, okay, by Bad Jackson's logic, there we go. The function of my joints is to hurt a lot. Yeah, I get some of that too. Yep. Seems like a really silly thing for them to do, as far as a function goes. But, hey, I also don't think we're going to get to vote on time off. So, I don't know. We'll just have to work extra hard on Thursday.
Was our paradigm's prediction that this was going to happen, just like the magnetic field strengths of those planets.
Do you know what he's talking about there?
He's talking about what's his name? The astrophysicist creationist.
Yep.
Who claimed to have predicted the magnetic fields of the planets after it had been done.
Well, it wasn't quite after. So what he basically did was he created quote unquote predictions that were accurate to about like an order of magnitude and just scaled with the mass of the planets.
Okay.
It was like bigger planets will have bigger magnetic fields, which yeah, true. And do you know what the lower bound for all of his estimates was?
What?
0. So anything up to proportional to their mass, all the way to 0 counts as a confirmed prediction for him. So basically, he guessed that maybe the planets either have magnetic field strengths that are proportional to their mass, or anything lower than that. It's like, okay,
That doesn't seem like a very good prediction.
I mean, it's a good prediction in the sense that, like, it's unlikely to be wrong. Like, I'm going to guess, Jackson, how much is in your bank account? I think your checking account has $3 trillion or fewer dollars. Am I right?
I mean, yeah, that's
There
true.
you go. See? I did it. I know how much is in your bank account. I'm amazing. Everyone should take me seriously as a financial advisor. Please don't do that. I'm not actually a... But, like, it's the same thing, right? Like, what are we doing here? That's only a prediction in the most technical and pedantic sense.
D. Russell Humphreys.
There it was. It was Humphreys. Yep.
Humphreys. That was his name. I kept
Yeah, I
thinking,
couldn't remember
was
it either.
like, Hugh Ross is not it. Humphreys.
Oh.
Russell Humphreys.
Hugh
Yeah.
Ross, like, as much as I disagree with Hugh Ross on many things, he's not that stupid.
The letters, the first letters I had backwards. Russell Humphreys instead of Hugh Ross. I was like,
Yeah.
it's something like that. Yeah, okay.
Predicted. And NASA freaked because they did not figure it was going to...
Nope.
They sure didn't, because
They
they
didn't freak.
probably don't know who he is.
Nope, they don't. They didn't even notice that he had ever written any of this stuff because they don't care. Because just like if a flat earther is like, I bet it will be sunny one of the next 300 days, no meteorologist is going to care because that's not a significant prediction. Sure, technically it's a prediction, and sure, technically you got it right, but no one cares, and no one likely noticed because guess what? Just like NASA isn't listening to Mark Sargent, NASA also isn't listening to Russell Humphreys, or Charles Jackson, or Kent Hovind. They just aren't.
Go his way, but it did. Just like the Pioneer anomaly, but that's one I'll let you do. So
I'm not sure what he means by the Pioneer anomaly.
The Pioneer anomaly.
That sounds like a real thing that I just don't know.
Or Pioneer effect was the observed deviation from predicted accelerations of the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 spacecraft after they passed about 20 astronomical units on their trajectories out of the solar system. The apparent anomaly was a matter of much interest for many years, but has been subsequently explained by anisotropic radiation pressure caused by the spacecraft's heat loss.
Ah, okay. I don't know of any creationists predicting that and what that significance would be, but like, okay, cool. Yeah, as Right-Handed Sith points out, or the prediction, I predict that it is sunny somewhere on Earth at this moment. Yeah, good job. Or to be fair, like when the Bible says there will be wars and rumors of wars, like,
right?
Okay, when has that ever not been true since like wars started?
Yeah, since there has been human civilization.
Yeah.
So here's what it's really like. These master control genes will tell a gene what to do, or they could tell a gene.
I love that in this, like, the master control gene feels like the master control program from Tron. I hope it's also, like, set up in, like, some big column with, like, spinny lights going around it, telling all the programs what to do. Maybe I should rewatch Tron. Was the newest Tron any good? I haven't seen it. Let me know in the
also
comments.
haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember watching the first one a long time ago, but I don't remember anything from it.
If you get this far in the video, leave a comment giving your Tron Ares review or stating that you haven't seen it. And that way, I'll know who the real fans, because the real fans make it this far into the video. There you go. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, I predict that the measured IQ of Carl Baugh is between error 404, intelligence not found, and 0. Yeah, that sounds about right. Carl Baugh is a bizarre individual.
He's pretty odd.
The thing is, there's got to be something wrong with him, right? Like, he can't just be a normal, non-pathological, like, person. There's no regular human who doesn't have some kind of, like, problem. Brain damage or something. Speaks the way he does. And I don't just mean his conclusions are bonkers, which they obviously are, but, like, if you just listen to him speak, he just has, like, noun phrases after noun phrases with like nested relative clauses, and then sometimes he'll just like forget that maybe he should add a verb, like a main verb to his sentence. It's like, what is happening? Like, these aren't real thoughts. These aren't actual sentences. This isn't real English. It's parts of English, but like, I don't know. Something about Karl Baugh is off. I don't know. I mean, I also happen to know like he's a giant scammer whose scams include financial scams. So that's fun. Yeah. I don't know when it'll go be released, but Chrissy Hansen, who's a friend of the channel, has done a lot of digging on Karl Baugh, and it turns out that his scams are not just restricted to creation science scams, but also to scam investment vehicles. So that's fun. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I know. I mean, I'm sure if he were younger, he'd be a crypto bro. A creationist crypto bro.
What to do, who tells the other gene what's supposed to happen, who tells the other gene what's supposed to happen, that tells this one, finally, which protein to make. But they all put it through their filters first. They all add their tailoring to the message, to the instructions, to the timing of it, to the coordination of it.
I don't understand why he's talking about this in terms of it being a problem for evolution.
Because complex, therefore God, obviously.
Yeah, I guess, but that's a really stupid argument because evolution predicts complexity.
Well, I mean, how many creationists have you seen complex, therefore God? It's a large number.
Yeah, it's true. It is a really large number of them. And like the thing is, like, if you want to say that something is a barrier for evolution, you have to explain why. And just saying it complicated doesn't really do that. So, like, creationists out there, I'm not saying that you can't come up with a barrier for evolution. Maybe you can. No one has, as far as I can tell, yet. But if you're going to do it, it can't just be describe a thing that exists and then say, see? Because really, all that's happening is then you're just saying, well, look at the trees. It's like, look at the genome. Okay, what about it specifically? It has regulatory sequences. Okay. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that as far as an argument goes.
A gene that tells a gene that tells a gene that tells a gene that tells a gene what to do. And this one's telling many of them.
And he doesn't think that seems like needlessly complex and Goldbergian or anything?
No, because it must have been perfectly designed.
Yeah.
For something. Don't worry about it. I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had with creationists on Twitter where you ask them to explain, like, what is Gulo doing in haplorine primates right now? And they go, okay,
Wait.
I thought you said the whole genome was functional.
Pillpunk says Karl Baugh died in 2001. Is that true?
Grok, is that true?
Wikipedia says that he's still alive and is 89.
Hold on. Karl Baugh.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says genome. Yeah. I don't know why he says it that way. And it's not like genome is like some big shibboleth or anything. Like it's weird that he says it that way. And he's not the only creationist, but he's one of the more prominent ones. What about the genome? I guess it says Dapper's not even trying to look at the trees. That's true. Currently, I am not trying to look at the trees. Although, you know, we have some Palo Verde trees not too far from me. But I mean, I'm in Arizona. That's pretty common. In fact, I think Palo Verde is like the state tree of Arizona or something. I know saguaro is the state wildflower, which is usually taller than Palo Verde trees, which I think might make Arizona the only state where the state wildflower is taller than the state tree.
You know, I did find out just yesterday that Dennis Prager is paralyzed from the neck down.
Yes, I found that out earlier than yesterday, but not a whole lot earlier.
I did not know this. I was like, I guess everything I've seen of him was from several years ago until like what was I looking at? I was on Twitter and like one of his ads was like him in the chair and I was like, wait a second, is he paralyzed?
Mhm.
Apparently he had like a fall or something that
Yeah, a few months ago I saw an
broke his
interview
spine, so
where he was talking about his paralysis. Oh, I guess that's a thing. Fits of Rage has gifted Dapper Dinosaur membership, so thank you very much. I just took a drink for it. And Pillowpunk says, never mind, I misread a date. Oh, okay. Okay, because I was going to say, like, if Karl Baugh had died in 2001, I feel like I would have known about that. But then again, look, there's a lot of things you would think I would know about that I don't. And then there's sometimes things that I do know about that I shouldn't. So, like, my reasons for being very, 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 very confident that Kent Hovind was topping Steve Lynn, his former tech guy.
How to do that.
are you still confident about
The
that?
master control.
Yes, I'm extremely confident. It explains a whole
Good
lot
for
of
them.
stuff, including stuff that I wish I didn't know.
Genes are in the junk sequences. All of them are there. Well, okay, to a scientist and a biologist, this is like
Why is he getting all quiety?
Yeah, I don't know.
gloating time, laughing time, and vindication time.
But Charles, you are neither a scientist nor a biologist, so I don't think you get to gloat about anything.
Especially when you're this wrong about it.
Yeah.
Vindication shall shine forth as the brightness.
That is the most pretentious thing I have heard on this show. Wow. I'm taking a drink for just how dumb that is, being that pretentious about something this wrong. Although, stay tuned, because on Saturday, that might be beat. Because I found some creationists who make Raw Matt and Matt Powell look like Nobel laureates.
(2012) again, the shadowy part. This is from the Washington Post again. Look what it says. Junk
Remind me, Washington Post peer-reviewed or no?
Not.
Okay. All right. So is anything they have to say actually relevant to the scientific discourse or consensus?
Negative.
Okay, just double checking.
DNA concept debunked by new analysis of human genome. 2012. It just gets worse for them every year. I love it.
Say in code so I can drink for a prediction. Just do it. Say in code. We all know it's what you mean.
Because I did pray that God would glorify himself and show his word to be true, and that is what it is. That is what it is. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God.
Hey, if I wanted to be a creationist about that, I could just point out that means the Bible says there is no God. Because if they don't have to care about context, why should I care about context?
The shadowy part of the human genome, once disparaged as junk DNA, a view radically at odds with what biologists have thought for the past 3 decades, 97% of the human genome that's not strictly speaking made up of genes. The Encyclopedia of DNA...
Which, again, already, this article, whoever wrote this, is getting this wrong. Because, again, non-coding but functional regions of the genome were already known before the term junk DNA was coined, and it never included those. So we're once again falling into this common trap of citing non-peer-reviewed sources that are getting what junk DNA is in the first place wrong.
Elements Project, nicknamed ENCODE, the identification of about 4 million sites involved.
Also, I want to acknowledge we're getting a lot of bingo, so congratulations to all the genome. Oh, there's DM Wing saying genome. I like all the different ways we're spelling genome, but congratulations to all the people getting bingos. Yeah, we've got like I think we got like GINOME. We're just getting JENNOME. We're gonna spell like it's a French verb or something, like JE''GNOME. Genome. Yeah.
Involved in regulating gene activity. Previously,
Oh, did he say the thing? I missed it. He said the thing, I guess. Let's take a drink. He said the thing. Yeah, everyone is saying he said the thing.
Ding.
Awesome. Thank you. Confirmed prediction. We did it. We did it, everybody. Congratulations.
only a few thousand such sites were known. Now, 4 million. In all, at least 80% of the genome appears to be active at least sometime in our lives.
Yep, that's true. That's true, but it's not the same thing as being functional. Which, if you had paid attention for 4 more years, you would know. And here's the thing, I think he did pay attention for 4 more years, and he's just lying.
Further research may reveal that virtually all the DNA passed down from generation to generation has been kept for a reason, and look what Richard Myers of the...
Actually, we did further research, and that's definitely not true. In fact, a huge portion of the genome is literally just parasitic nonsense.
Yeah, where are all those functions for lines and signs and ALUs and ERV sequences?
Exactly.
Like where are they, guys? It's they have to play this game like, oh well, we found a few here and there that have that are functional in actual in your actual biology, which means that the rest will be okay. Here's the thing: the ones that are actually functional are evolutionarily conserved.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! And it's crazy how most of them aren't. Isn't it wild?
Yeah. Lieutenant Math Navigator. Sorry.
It's just.
Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, "Has this man ever tried not talking like a gigantic twit?" No, he has never tried that. At least not as far as I can tell. He always sounds like a pretentious moron. Look, here's one of the things. Very few things make you sound more pretentious than sounding smug while getting basic pronunciations like genome wrong. Pillowpunk for $2 says, disparaged, as if the molecules got offended, with a rolling eyes emoji. Yeah, I think the molecules' feelings were just fine. I don't think they cared. It's like when people are like, how could they do this to Pluto? They demoted it. It's like, Pluto doesn't care. Pluto didn't even notice, because it's a hunk of ice.
The Hudson Alpha Institute for Biotechnology in Alabama says the concept of junk DNA is really not accurate. It's an outdated metaphor. It's gone now. It's gone.
I mean, weird how it's not then. Because remember, if the idea of junk DNA were gone, Charles Jackson wouldn't be arguing again. The very fact that he needs to give this talk means that it's not gone. It is, in fact, still the consensus. Why? Oh, because the things he's reading now, turns out, those results were nonsense. And the people who admitted that they were nonsense are the people who came out with the results in the first place, at least by and large. There had probably been some turnover at ENCO in those 2 years. But we're going to start wrapping things up. Jackson, what do you have coming up that you need people to know about?
I today put out Neo-Fascism, in which we talk about neo-fascists. We talk about the similarities and the differences between classical or historical fascism and modern neo-fascists. And so that was my... I tend to put out these political videos in like little spurts. So my next video is the Redwood's Tale, going back to the Ancestor's Tale, and that one's going to be about primary growth and then secondary thickening, and how we can tell a lot about the environment in which trees grew.
Jackson, I got to be honest with you. A video about primary growth and secondary thickening reminds me about your whale video from earlier.
Oh, well, this one involves organisms that have indeterminate growth, unlike whales, which have determinate growth.
Okay, but like this sounds not safe for work.
Oh, it will be the safest for work.
Okay.
You can be as deep in the secondary thickening as you could possibly want. It's the plant organs care not what is safe for work.
Lieutenant Matt. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the next one. We're gonna have Logan McNair on the channel on December 4th, I believe.
Who is Logan McNair?
He is a guy who studies the psychology of terrorists and extremists. And so we're going to have him on to talk about the psychology of the mega party.
fun or
Yeah.
nightmare-inducing or both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah. Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, "How dare you? Pluto may not care, but Karen cares." Look, Karen is just a bunch of ice accreted around a mass relay. It doesn't care. You know about the Karen relay, right?
No.
Jackson, we gotta educate you.
True.
In the words of Michael Scott, there is so much about your own culture that you need to know.
That is probably true.
All right, so what's coming up for me? On Thursday, I am releasing a video. I probably shouldn't because it's Thanksgiving, and yet I am. Because, I don't know. I am. I'm pretty sure no one will watch it during the premiere, but that's okay. But it's the creationist world of tomorrow is just idiocracy. A creationist group of a Christian denomination I had never heard of has a show called The World of Tomorrow, and mostly it's just nonsense about trying to pretend that various news items match what they think of as biblical prophecies about the end times, but that are actually just talking about like the socio-political climate in like Rome during the reign of Nero. But for one episode at least, they started talking about science, and so I tuned in and decided to make a video out of it. Normandy Foxtrot says, "I will watch it." Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. And don't call me Shirley, says Pillowpunk. So yeah, that'll be on Thursday at noon my time, so that's 11 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. Then on Friday, the plan is that we're going to be doing some Star Trek Endurance over on Top Hats Off. Maddie probably will not be there, but it looks like we have confirmation from Chesh and Thierry, Craig, and Kip, and Jordan, and Zirlon, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone, but I don't know. I can't remember everyone's name off the top of my head right now because I've been drinking because all this Charles Jackson fellow. Anyway, yeah, so that should be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on Top Hats Off. You saw the trailer for that during the intermission. So the episode will be called Signals. Let's see. Then on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, I am streaming a new video called AI Slop Creationist is Dumber Than Matt. And that should be with Dr. Kip Davis and Vishanti, both of whom did confirm earlier today that they were down for it. It is a new video. We are done with Dr. Brian Thomas for now. Because, quite frankly, I got fed up with him and his saying of nothing. So, we're switching. This is a brand new creationist channel. Well, it's not brand new in the sense of like it was just created recently. But it is brand new to me, and I think will be brand new to most people. Now, to be fair, most of his content isn't about creationism. So, like, if you're going there to find like creationist nonsense, it's pretty thin on the ground. Again, just like the people who are the subject of Thursday's video, most of what he does is just make up stuff about current events and pretend that it ties into biblical prophecies, most of which aren't prophecies in the first place. So, that's that. And then on Tuesday, which will be over in December, that'll be December 2nd, we should be doing Kent with Bent. So tune in for that. That should be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So that is the schedule for what's coming up. If you are a member or a channel or a patron and you have access to my Discord, we are going to be going over and watching Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, which is not a direct sequel to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla or Terror of Mechagodzilla. So that's fun. But yeah, other than that, I want to say thank you again to everyone who has helped, who super chatted, membership chatted, anything like that. I'm just going to double check one last time to see if any new patrons have appeared, and it does not appear so. So once again, check out the Patreon, check out the channel memberships, because that is how you get to go watch movies with me. Yeah. Or potentially even play Space Marine 2, because that's how Ashley started doing it. So, all right, everybody, stay safe out there, and furthermore, ICE must be abolished.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Ben Tovand, Tapioca Weasel, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon Knoll, Ian Chen, Eleron Teller, Phil Rivera, Kelvin Rostick Van Manen, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Vollus, Dan Sheedy, Pegajace, The Plastic Mouse, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Love Science, Amber Athelian, Prixie Purple, Agricola Siqua, Max Cherry, North Texas Fossils, and John Ackerman. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.